Welcome to the Blue Ocean Solutions podcast, where we feature conversations with innovators, business leaders, driving progress in clean tech, construction, and the renewable energy sectors. Our guest is business owner Guy Benromano from the company LightYX. Today, we're going to discuss his digital design technology. It's a laser accurate construction layout tool, which is transforming how contractors are using blueprints. Welcome to the podcast, Guy. How are you doing today?
Hey, Kreel, and thank you very much for asking. I'm pretty good, very happy to join this session with you. Let's get it done.
Let's do it. All right. So for our audience who may not be familiar with you and your company, why don't you give a little bit of a background, yourself, your company, and the technology that you have?
Okay, so my name is Guy Benromano. I'm one of the co-founders of LightYX. I'm serving as the CEO of the company. I founded the company with two of my best friends, Tomer and Uri. Tomer Elran, actually, and Uri Yehudai. Tomer is actually taking care of our operation in the US, and Uri is the chief technology officer. We have studied electrical engineering together in Tel Aviv University, and then we decided about 7 years ago, almost 7 years ago, we decided to launch LightYX, technology for construction tech. We realized that construction tech, which is a $13 trillion industry, is really lacking innovation, and everything, any idea that we have in this domain, we realize that we won't even have competition because it's still lagging behind. But I must say that right now we're seeing like a transformation in the industry, moving from traditional work to digitize the work. So LightYX has developed a unique solution. We are solving the traditional layout problem, where traditional layout is done manually. Actually, maybe I would say one word about layout. Layout is the process of marking onto the surface the position of the various elements that are in the digital plan. For example, if you want to place a wall, you first need to mark on the floor or on the ceiling the position of this wall, and it needs to be very accurate, like 1/8 of an inch compared to the plan. Or if you want to install a pipe, you first need to connect the pipe to the ceiling. So only once you mark the position of these elements, then you can continue with the installation and construction. So today the layout is done manually using meter tape, laser levelers, pencils, etc. But what LightYX has developed is a robotic system that projects a comprehensive digital plan onto the surface using lasers. And it's a very interesting robot because it projects the layout using lasers onto the surface with an accuracy of 1/8 of an inch up to a range of 30 feet. Now the robot's field of view is 70 degrees, which means that the projection is 70 degrees. However, the robot can rotate 360 both horizontally and vertically. So this way we can cover any spot in the room. So once we place the device and we position it, then the robot knows its position, and it can project the layout onto the surface in any direction that we guide the robot. Actually, it's once we tell it its position, it's fully autonomous. So it knows where to project the layout based on the first positioning that we position the robot. So right now, all the workers or installators, they can now know where exactly to position the frames of the drywall, or to hook or to connect a hook. I don't know, and install a pipe and connect it to the hook. So this is what we are doing. Our technology, we recently added scanning capabilities, so our device can now scan very fast, the surrounding. So if we are doing a renovation project, so we can put the device, it can scan immediately the room, and we can say immediately whether the as-built is like in the plan. But in most cases, we will understand that the as-built is slightly different than the plan, and we need to adjust the plans in order to accommodate the real as-built conditions. So we we can do it. We can adjust the projection in real time according to the as built, and we have some other new features that are coming. Customer loves, like really, they love what we do. Once they try it, they cannot get back, they cannot go back, and because it makes their life very easy, and we save tons of time, like 4 to 10 times faster, and we mitigate the mistakes. Maybe I think that we take out maybe, I don't know, 75% of the errors that are caused by the human interaction, a human intervention in the laying out process. So it's a pretty interesting device, and we almost have no competition. So our innovation is really unique. Is really unique, and we love to show it to customers. They do a demo, they fall in love with the device, they start using it, and then we cannot take it back from them.
Of
It's
course.
yeah, so this is like this is our trick, just doing one demo, and that's all, and then they know what's the benefit. We almost, I don't know, we almost don't lose any deal once the customer seeing our device. The only places where we show, where we do a demo and a customer is a bit taking his time, is when the customers don't have an immediate project. Then sometimes it can take time from the moment they see the demo to the time they start using the device. But if they have a project and they see our demo, in most cases they will be our customers.
That's amazing. Speaking about customers, so who is your ideal type of customer? Like what does that look like? Who are the conversations they're having with? And
So
tell our audience, the small, medium, large, what does that all look like?
So you're asking a very good question. So I think that 70% of our market are those subcontractors that are doing, gypsum installation, drywall installation, or those who are doing MEP, which is mechanical, electrical, and plumbing installation. Those company are our immediate customers. We're speaking there with the people that actually need to do the layout before they install their equipment. But in 30% of the cases, the general contractor is our customer. And there are some cases where the general contractor becomes our customer. One, where the general contractor have a self-perform unit, which means that he's doing the drywall installation itself. He doesn't have an external company. They're doing it
Mhm.
internally. So in this case, they're like a subcontractor. They're doing the work themselves. In other cases, is where the general contractor, um, I don't know if saying don't trust is the right word, but they prefer to do the layout for the subcontractors, because this way they can coordinate all the layout between all the subcontractors, whether it's drywall installers or MEP installers or acoustic ceiling installers, etc. So in these cases, the general contractor tells us, listen, we want to do the layout for the subcontractors, and then we get a discount from the subcontractors for the work that we did for them. And in this way, we accelerate, we can control the process, and we accelerate the pace of our progress, the progress of the project. So these are our immediate customers. So I would say those who are doing the layout are the immediate people that get the benefit. But at the end of the day, it's a decision of a project manager. And in some companies, we are already speaking with the vice president of operations, and with companies that, have one device and now want to do transformation within their companies, having all the companies, all the divisions under this vice president of operation using technology. So in these cases, we're speaking with C-level management, and they're doing, they're promoting our device within the companies.
That's amazing. And I would imagine, so it's commercial. Is it on the residential side, or is it like commercial buildings, or multi-use across the industry?
It's a multi-use, it's residential, it's commercial, it's industrial, but it's not a single family building, because and it's not that we cannot provide value for single family contractors. It just, we don't focus there, because they're doing the layout very quick, and we don't feel that these segments are our immediate entry point.
No, it makes sense. The larger solution you're really providing is to like big enterprises in moving things faster there. So that's wonderful. So then on the customer side, maybe take a step back. So LightYX, what size is the company? You mentioned 3 founders. Like, so what's the employees? You've gone through some funding rounds. Please share what that looks like, how big the company is right now. What's the idea of a future expansion?
So we are growing. Thanks God we are growing. With startup, it's either you go back or you go forward. And we recently raised $11 million in our A round. And then right now we are 22 people in the company, and we will be 26 by the end of 2025, and we'll continue to grow. I can tell you that right now, 7 people out of these 22 people are located in the US, and they take care of all of our go-to-market, whether it's doing the customer success work, or they're doing the sales or the pre-sale, and the rest are working in our R&D facilities here in Israel. And we have some people that are doing the assembly of the device. We have 2 patented US for a very innovative technology, and we believe that we will continue to grow in the following month. And what was your other question?
What's your strategic maybe priorities over the next 6 to 12 months? Because you guys are in growth, you've got a lot of activity. Where do you see this headed?
Yes. So right now we are scaling up, and it's a very critical stage for the company because we must grow. And thanks God we have the infrastructure to grow. We're signing contracts with the biggest distributors for surveying equipment in the US. For example, Building Point Midwest or Building Point Florida. And Building Point is a chain of distributors in the US that are selling mostly Trimble equipment. It's a surveying equipment, and they are actually approaching the same persona that we are trying to reach out to. So it's a very good fit. And we already signed 5 contracts, and we believe that we will have 8 signed by the end of 2025. And in the first quarter of 2026, we will have 10 distributors in US and Canada, and we will cover all the North American countries. And 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 this is one way for us to grow through distributors. The other channel is our own direct sales channel. We are building a direct channel to the market and we are hiring salespeople, and we are having also field engineers that are doing the demos, the customer success, etc. So we need to sell more and more devices. We wanna reach a few millions of dollars by the end of 2026, but a significant amount. We will complete this year 2025 with again a few millions of dollars. I cannot get into the exact numbers, but we're selling pretty well, and we see a very clear path towards scaling up. We see how we do it, and we also starting to scale up in Europe. We are thinking about first distributors in Europe, and this is what we are planning for the market. And we believe that the need for our device in the market will grow the more customers knows about our solution. Many of them just don't know that there is a solution for their way, of traditional layout. So once they hear about our solution, we get around 100 leads every month, and it's pretty a lot for our stage, all coming from companies that hear about our solution, and they're coming to see what we have to offer. And as I mentioned, once we show them the demo, they understand immediately what we are doing, and they can calculate also the ROI pretty quickly.
That's amazing. So when we talk about those like 100 leads, how are they finding you? Is that through advertising on your behalf? Is it through referrals? How does that look?
all of the things you mentioned. We have a digital campaign on social media, all kind of social media, and I can tell you that sometimes we just advertise a picture where you see the robot project on the floor, a pattern using laser. We don't need to say anything. They just see the picture and they immediately understand, what we are doing. And
The
in these cases,
implications, yeah.
yes, they're hearing about us, so they approach us, and sometimes they hear about it from colleagues. I can tell you that we had one project in the US where in one project there were two subcontractors that were competing. They were both working on the same project. One subcontractor, evaluated our technology, and then he purchased our technology after a process of, let's say, 3 months. But the other subcontractor that just saw it on the site, he just saw his competitor using a device. He didn't know what it is. And then he realized, he saw the logo LightYX on the device, and he contacted us immediately. And within 7 days, he ordered the device. No demo, nothing. Just no sense of fear of missing out.
Well, I think the more and more I've talked to you, Guy, I get the sense that this is a very disruptive technology inside the industry. And it'll only be a matter of time that there'll be enough prototypes in the workplace and in companies that more and more subcontractors and contractors will get to see one and start to realize the impact that it's having, both on time and efficiency, also accuracy in the layout, but also return on investment. Maybe you could speak a little bit to the cost of the technology and also your perceived return on investment for the potential end user so that any potential customers would have a good understanding.
Okay, so let's speak about the cost. So the cost of our device is is a mixed payment. It's a one-time payment of a few dozens of thousands of dollars for the hardware, and then another payment for subscription, around $1,000 for subscription per month. And this was when they want to buy our technology. When they want to lease our technology, they are paying a few hundreds of dollars per day, plus a subscription payment every month, and the program is for 12 months. Now, in some cases, a customer want to test our device, let's say for I don't know, 3 months. So we give them a spatial pricing in order to test the device for 3 months. So after 3 months, if they are not satisfied, they can return the device. But it's very rarely that we do it, because it's very rarely that the customers wants it. He will prefer to buy it or to lease it for 12 months and pay what we ask for instead of paying more for a shorter term. They realize pretty quickly if it can help them or not. Now, regarding return on investment, it's pretty trivial to understand how much we can save. There are the direct saving. So I can tell you that a cost of the labor for layout is around $1,000 to $1,500 per day for one person. And normally they're using a 3 person to do the layout. One is let's call him the person who is responsible, who is doing all the measurements, and he needs to make sure that the layout is correct. So they do it on top of the laser. Some people think that when you project the laser, they immediately nail the frame to the floor on top of the lasers, but that's not the common case. Common case is that they mark first the layout onto the floor, and only after that they install their equipment. So another way that they use our device is by marking the edges of the projection without a need for a chalk line. So as I mentioned, it's $1,500 per person for 3 person, and what normally takes them 6 days With LightYX, it will take them 1 or 1.5 days. You can, so let's say we are saving 4 days, and 4 days, if you can, multiply it by the cost of the labor, you will understand immediately how much exactly we're saving. Now, this is the direct cost, but sometimes it's much more significant, the indirect cost, which is the errors that we save. The problem with errors that, there is a huge variation between the errors. There can be an error of, I don't know, $10, and there can be errors of $200,000. So that's depend on the kind of errors, but we save tons of errors. I can pretty much say that on every project that we were, when we started to use LightYX, we immediately found a significant amount of mistakes. I haven't met one project that didn't have mistakes in layout. It's either the as built is different than the plan, and then you need to adjust the plan to the as built. There are always there is a human intervention in the process, so there will always be place for mistakes. Now we are automating it. We are actually, we are saving all these errors. Now it's important to mention that unlike, one of the way to solve the same problem that we're solving is through a robot that walks on the floor and print the layout. And one of the things that we heard about the robots is that it replaces labor, it replaces people. In LightYX, that's not the case. We empower the worker. We give them a powerful tool to do their job very efficient. And this is a very important aspect because we are working also with the carpenter unions and love our device, and they train their people to know how to use our device, and we are very happy for this partnership. It brings value and knowledge to the people that empowers them.
I think it's a great valuable point. To kind of summarize, you increase the speed, the accuracy, and empower the workplace to be more effective and efficient. So I have found the best technology is really empowering the human intelligence side of it too. So it creates better results faster. So it seems like LightYX is right there. What do you think your company does really well right now?
Okay. First of all, I would like to say one more thing about, you mentioned the saving of the cost and the time, but I have another insight that I learned recently. We are not only reducing the cost, we are also increasing the income. And you're probably, you probably want to know, how do we increase the income? So I can tell you that once our contractors, once they know how much it costs them, and once they know how much they can save, they can bid better. They can give a better price in their bid. And this way they can win bids. And we can tell you that with our technology, some of the contractors that are using it can give a better price than others that are not using technology. And they win bids, they win project, they have more revenue. And this is an important aspect. And now regarding your question, could you please remind me
Yeah, so it's two sides of the question. One is like, what is your company doing really well right now? And then on the flip side of that one, what are some of the challenges it's experiencing?
Okay, so one of the things that we are doing right now really good is a few things. First of all, I think that our marketing campaigns are working very well. And I think that we approach many relevant potential customers. So, and we know exactly, to pinpoint on the problem, and we don't waste time speaking with the wrong people. This is what I feel, and I really like it. Another thing that we are doing good is keeping a very tight relationship with our customers. We are doing everything we can to make them use our product in a very efficient way. So we send them also kind of newsletters, but not the marketing newsletters that you delete once you get them. We send them some personal emails with new things that can bring them value. and we ask them how it's, how they're doing using our device, and we ask where we can help. And sometimes they share with us their challenges, and we can help them better, and we can learn a lot from this process and actually improve our device. So this is what we are doing right now, very good. uh, one of the things that we need to make sure that we are doing good is making sure that our distributors will provide the necessary value, and they will be equipped with the right knowledge. This is very important because they face the customer at the end of the day, and they need to know exactly how to use our device, and when our device is shining, where our device is shining, and where it could be more challenging or not the right fit for our device. And if you ask about challenges, then we can start a podcast of 3 hours, and I will tell you about all of our challenges. But if I can mention a few of the challenges that a startup company faces, I would say that first thing, raising fund is a very, very difficult task. Actually, it's a nightmare. That would be the right word to use. Raising fund for construction technology, or even for climate tech companies and energy tech companies, it's really, really difficult because most of the general venture capital or investors, they're not familiar with these domains. They're not familiar with the pains in these industries. So it's really difficult to find the right investors that will be a good fit for us. It makes the fundraising process a very challenging one, and it's always hard. If you ask any founder on any industry, will tell you that raising fund is a nightmare. I think it becomes a double nightmare in construction tech, and scaling up is a challenging process because there are a few things that you need to take care in parallel. First, you need to create a demand. Then you need to produce the supply, and to have enough production capacity, and then you need to make sure that you execute this processing of scaling up, of delivering the merchandise, delivering our product to the market. you know it's a logistic process, and we need to make it very good and very efficient. And scaling up is a very challenging task for a startup, a small company that have limited budget. But I think that LightYX is doing it pretty good. We can always improve, and we can always find place to improve, and we always have ideas of how we can improve the processes. But it's challenging. It's not a big
Sure.
company. It's a company that is not replacing another technology that was in the market. It's creating a new category. So there is no data. There is no previous data. So actually, I don't know how many devices, I can sell next year in, let's say, in New York. There is no data about how many similar technologies were sold in New York. Everything we create, we project, we have our projection. Sometimes it's close to what we get in the end of the day, and sometimes we are not in the same, we are not in a place where we wanted to be. So we are defining a new category, and it's also a challenge because, as I mentioned, there is no previous data.
No, you bring up some really valuable points. Obviously, you guys have also been successful because you've finished Series A funding. So how have you found funders? What's been your strategy to get in front of the right people and promote this technology and asking for funding partners?
It's a very good question. Now, the reason I'm saying it's a very good question is that there is no one best way to do it. And I will tell you that no matter which direction you choose, you will need to have 80% luck. So I can tell you that what I did when we started raising fund, we realized that there are no venture capital in Israel that can back a hardware startup in the construction domain. So I approached many, many, many investors in the US through a direct message with no warm introduction. And it didn't work. Even when we were progressing with a few investors, the fact that we only spoke through Zoom, I think, did not give them the confidence that our company is something tangible, and we will do what we say that we will do. At the end of the day, it was really hard for us to find the right, let's call it financial investors. So what we did is we found a strategic investor, not an Israeli one, a European one. And this strategic investor understood immediately the problem that we are solving. This strategic investor became also our customer. Actually, it started from being our customer, and then they had their own corporate venture capital, and they decided to lead the round in LightYX. And after that, we found a group of investors that came from the construction domain and also understood exactly the problem that we are solving. And we had some private investor from the real estate. And so what I'm trying to say is that at the end of the day, all of our investors understood our domain. Those who were investing in hardware, or even some of them that said that they are investing in construction, they didn't really understand what we are doing. You need to have, a spatial group that understand this domain, that what we are doing very good, and it wasn't easy to find those investors. But
Sure.
I was surprised that at the end of the project, at the end of the process, when we wanted to close the round, suddenly we had an introduction with a Texas-based venture capital that heard about what we are doing. They didn't need to understand our domain, perfectly, but they had LPs, investor in their own fund, that were coming from our domain, and they also understood pretty quickly that they can help us with their LPs, and they invested in LightYX because they realized that we are making a very good founding team,
Mm-hmm.
and our product is superb in terms of technology. And they realized that we have a product market fit, and they decided to invest.
Perfect.
But as I mentioned, there should be few rule of thumbs. You need to have a warm introduction. Everybody, they tell you that you need to have a warm introduction, but you don't understand how much until you try to do it differently and you fail. So you need to have a warm introduction with the right investors. Right investors need to understand what you're doing and the value that you provide. They can do it through a very deep understanding of the domain, or they can do it by speaking with many of their customer. But the more they understand about your domain, the better chance that you have that they invest in your company. And you need to have luck. I mean, 80% luck. And I'm not joking. At the end of we had a lot of luck. And when I spoke to other colleagues, they also mentioned that at the end of the day, they had luck. So raising fund is a very challenging task, but still you need to do the best you can. You need to be a very good company in order to be able to raise fund, and you need luck.
I understand. Okay, great. As you move then from where you currently are, as we move towards wrapping this up, where do you see LightYX reshaping and impacting the construction industry in this trend over the next 1 to 2 years? Maybe even as far out 5 years.
So I think that within 5 years, we will see a real impact on the market. I believe that we will be in the market 5 years. So in 5 years, the rumor will spread. It will be, I think, it will be the I don't know if you read the book. Never mind. I think that there will be a turbulence, like a huge revolution, and we will be in the middle of this revolution, enjoying the huge demand that will come, because it will be a point that suddenly the next 1 to 2 years, we will still need to educate the market. We will grow significantly, but it will be still a process of educating the market. But once there is a point where things become a trend, where things become the standard, and this is the point where a company becomes $1 billion company. And I believe that we will be the leading product when this time comes. And my
Excellent.
task is to make sure that we are going to be there in the right time with the right product and the right team, like all the company. We just need to be there at that point. And I believe that it might be sooner than 5 years, but I truly believe that within 5 years, it's going to be like a wow.
Well, Guy, having spoken to you a few times now and seeing your vision, I think it's the team, the product, and the vision of the company. I think you are very well positioned. And I think it's a disruptive technology that will really reshape how contractors, general contractors, enterprise construction companies really think about approaching their business. So I think you're in the right place, right timing.
Thank you.
For our audience who would like to learn more or get a hold of you, can you please share the website, your name, where they can get links to you?
So customer can approach LightYX. It's lightx.com, lightYX.com. They can direct message us, or they can approach the distributors in their territory. We're working in several territories. I don't remember all the names of the states, but we have Building Point is a chain of distributors, and we are working with Building Point. So if customer have kind of relationship with Building Point distributors, they can ask for LightYX, but they can always approach us, or get in touch with me directly on LinkedIn. I'm Guy Benromano. They can just message me, and most of the time I see those messages.
Perfect. And of course, to our audience, I'll leave all those links in the show notes. Guy, it's been fantastic to have you on the show. I really appreciate you sharing your technology and your vision to our customers. If you've found some value here today, please like and share this episode with someone who needs to maybe know about this technology. Guy, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you very much for hosting me.
You're welcome. So that's another episode of Blue Ocean Solutions podcast. Make sure to catch us on the next one. Thanks very much, Guy. Have a great day.
Thank you very much.